Hey guys, so I'm back. I thought it would be interesting to do a video on the top 3 things that I have learned in therapy so far. So earlier at the top of 2021, I wanted to get a new therapist. I haven't had one in a while. And the main theme that I wanted to kind of like work through is vulnerability, because I feel like, and I recognize within myself, I'm not the most emotionally available person. And also I have an issue with vulnerability. And I think that, you know, while I can recognize it, I don't necessarily have the tools to work through it. And, you know, it's been a while since I've been in a relationship, and I'm not necessarily like actively seeking a relationship, but I want to be ready should that come. So here are the top 3 things. But first, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, pretty much anything, Ugly Witty, TikTok, all that. I also have a GoFundMe because I've torn my ACL. My surgery is coming up. Everything's very expensive. But now that that's out of the way, here are the top 3 things I have learned so far in therapy. So the first thing that I've learned in therapy so far is expressing your needs from the beginning. I think for so long, I've just kind of like neglected my needs. And then when my needs aren't met, I'm mad about it. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense at all. It's almost a fear of like, well, if I express my needs in the beginning, that might scare them away and then they'll be gone. But then it's like, but that's a good thing, because if they're unwilling to meet your needs in the beginning, why go any further? And yes, there's compromise, but you have to also, it made me realize like, what are my actual needs? Like, and my needs have evolved over the years. There's certain things that I see as a priority, and there's things that no longer I see as a priority. So it really opened me up to like, now that when I interact with someone new in my life, or even people that that have been around for a couple years now, I'm kind of like, so these are kind of the needs. You know, some of them are deal breakers. Some of them can be give and take, and, you know, I can work through it and figure it out, but we need to be willing to meet those needs, just as I need that person to express to me what their needs are, so I can know how can I meet them, or if I can't meet them. So that's something I never really kind of, I neglected it. I kind of just put my needs on the back burner. And then when they eventually obviously weren't getting met, I was very frustrated and bitter. And it's like, but you have to take accountability. Like, that person doesn't know that this particular thing is important to you if you never expressed it. So how can they take accountability for not trying to meet my needs if I haven't even expressed what my needs are? So that's one of the major things I've learned. Another major thing that I've learned is red flags and accountability. I remember our first conversation with my therapist. She said, you know, why do you feel like you're not vulnerable? And I said, well, you know, I think it's just like a fear of disappointment. And she said, well, you know, when you think of all the people that have disappointed you before, were there any red flags prior to, you know? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, if there were red flags that they potentially were going to disappoint you or not meet your needs, or, you know, things of that nature, why did you go forward? So, and it felt like a personal attack, but it was very true. It's like, you know, there has to be some accountability. If you see a red flag in a situation and you go closer into the danger, at what point is it your fault? Not necessarily, it's not your fault, their behavior, but at what point do you say, I allowed this, or I continued to put up with this, even though I knew it was a problem? So I think that I never had anyone put it to me as bluntly, but my therapist is very kind, but she's also honest. So that was really important. And that's why, like, now I'm trying to be like, okay, if you see something's an issue, for the sake of trying to be chill, sometimes I'll not say nothing. I'll just be like, all right, well, whatever, I'll go with the flow, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. But it's like, no, say in the beginning, this is a problem, so that you don't have to deal with it over and over and over again. Because if you never express it, just like with the meeting of the needs, if I see a red flag and I don't say, hey, there's a problem with this. I see an issue with this and I'm uncomfortable moving forward because I see this issue, then I'm setting myself up to be disappointed or to be hurt. So whenever I see red flags, I need to express it and I need to make a decision like, okay, well, if you see that red flag and you move forward, then you have to take accountability for that. So I think that was very, very important. Okay. So the number 3 is having boundaries. And if I do not respect those boundaries, then, or others don't respect those boundaries, then there has to be consequences to it. Because if you set a boundary and someone does not respect it, if you allow them to continue to disrespect that boundary, the boundary doesn't exist. And I saw that pattern within myself where I would say, hey, I have an issue with this, or don't do this. And then, surprise, surprise, they did it again. Why? Because there was no consequence. There's no, like, that's like when your child gets in trouble and you, I don't want to say punish them because I'm not like a corporal punishment person, but like when it's time to say, okay, if you do this, then you cannot have this. I'm not going to reward that behavior. If you reward that behavior, guess what? It's going to continue. So I guess I never really thought it. I mean, I know I'm a person that tends to have soft boundaries, especially when it comes to men, especially if it's a man I like. And I think that it has made me more aware of those soft boundaries and how to create hard boundaries, and saying it's okay to have a hard boundary with someone. If they have a problem with it, because boundaries push people away. And that's the thing. If someone can't respect your boundaries, maybe they shouldn't be around you. And I think that I've actually, that's probably, that's one of the main ones I've truly been practicing, is like, if somebody does something like, I'm particular about my time. So let's say if somebody's like, oh, we're going to meet at this time, and then the time comes and then they're like, oh, I'm going to meet at that time. I don't particularly like that. I like when somebody respects my time because I don't have a lot of free time. So I've started to, with guys, be like, no, I'm all about, if we set a time, if you can't make it, you need to let me know in advance. Don't wait until that time and then think that you're still going to hang out or whatever, because we're not. And I've that has come up a lot. I know it's like a vague, vague, but it's worked. Because, okay, I'm gonna give an example. Recently, I have a friend, he literally only hits me up last minute. I've said multiple times, like, I don't like that. I guess it was okay kind of in the beginning, but now I've told you multiple times, I really don't like that. If you know that you're going to be in town or whatever, please let me know that you're going to be at least in town so I can kind of expect it. I'm not going to set necessarily, if you just say I'm going to be in town, that's fine. I'm not automatically assuming that we're going to hang out. However, please give me the heads up. Don't hit me up super late at night, because you don't know what I have going on, and it makes me feel like an afterthought, and I don't like it. So I had expressed that. What did he do? Hits me up last minute. As he hits me up last minute, he's like, it's almost an expectation that we're going to hang out. And at the time, I literally had so many moving parts going on. It was my birthday. Your girl was living. It was pre-ACL tear. So I was like in this, like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I hang out with him? Do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And then I had to cut it out. I was like, no, you have told this man multiple times, do not hit me up last minute. If you know you're coming in town, let me know that you're coming in town. That doesn't necessarily mean I expect you to be where I want you to be when I want you to be there, but it's just a respect of my time. And also, don't have the if you know that you're going to hit me up last minute, don't expect that I'm going to be available to you or that you will have access to me. So I literally had to explain that to him. Like, no, these boundaries have to have consequences. As much as I would love to hang out with you, and I do have the free time to do that right now, you're not respecting the boundary that I set, so I can't. So the next time that we did hang out, he did let me know prior to that he was going to be in town, because he knew there was a good chance if he did that again, we weren't going to hang out. So, and I mean, he could be in town right now and he doesn't let me know, but as long as he knows that you can't just hit me up last minute, that's not acceptable, then I don't even have to deal with that. So that was just an example of like how I kind of like been using the tools to put that in play. I paused therapy recently just because I have a lot of like financial obligations due to my ACL tear that I'm having to complete, but I'm going to schedule just to have like a meeting with her soon, just so we can, because your girl needs to talk it out. But yeah, I hope that this video was helpful, and I really am an advocate for therapy. I feel like a lot of people are hesitant. I'm not the most vulnerable person in the world, but sometimes having an objective ear that's literally she doesn't know me. So also, it took a while for me to start like truly opening up, because it's like, what's the point in going and working on your vulnerability if you're not going to be vulnerable with your therapist? You're literally wasting your own money. You're not necessarily wasting her time because she's getting paid for it. You're paying for it, so you need to make the most out of it. So I just feel like, you know, therapy is great for everyone and anyone. So I'm an advocate for it. So I just wanted to share a couple things that I have learned personally from my experience with therapy recently and how it's helping me. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Anyways, therapy for Black girls is a great resource to find a therapist. I love Psychology in Seattle. He's a therapist. But yeah, check out that YouTube channel. Yeah, get some therapy in your life. Everybody needs therapy. I wish these men that I was dating had therapy, but that's another conversation. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, everything Ugly Witty. If you would like to donate to my GoFundMe, the link is in the description. You know, I got my ACL tear, a lot of financial obligations. If you'd like to help out, I really appreciate it. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.